Johnson and the United States. The both basically have a business relationship going into a context a bit. The multinational Johnson&Johnson is a pharmaceutical company that has been for more than 300 years of the most sought after and trusted brands for the public. This American multinational manufacturer of devices, pharmaceuticals and personal care products, founded in 1996, is positioned at number 37 among the 500 largest companies in the United States. The relationship and interaction intensified during the pandemic and precisely during the presidential term of Donald Trump. The base of this relationship will come when, say, company reached an agreement with the USA government for $100 million to develop a sufficient capacity for production of this vaccine. The objective was to produce up to 1 billion doses to combat COVID-19. Thus, in July 2020, Johnson& Johnson committed to deliver up to 300 million doses of its vaccine in the United States, with 100 million in advance and an option for 200 million more. The agreement was funded by the Advanced Biomedical Research and Development Authority (BARDA) and the United States Department of Defense. At present, both actors at the USA government and J.J. depend on one and the other. Well, President-elect Joe Biden, since he became president, the vaccination plan has been one of his most susceptible and monitored issues, and without the vaccines are already planned and taken into account, he will lose the entire schedule already made. And in the case of JJ, having committed more than $1 million to development of a non-profit COVID-19 vaccine in partnership in the office in the Assistant Secretary for Prepare and Responses of the Investigation Authority at the United States Department. The second one, the slide, Berito, please. In this case, since the Trump administration and the current Biden administration, the aid has been economic and moral. In the case of the Trump administration, Operation Warp Speed was an initiative to invest billions in the manufacture of vaccines to ensure that millions of doses are ready to ship immediately when the FDA gives the green light. However, this has been detrimental to the multinational, and this center has produced Johnson & Johnson's COVID-19 vaccines must correct a long list of problems, including peeling paint, poor hygiene, and brown and black substances on the surfaces, according to the USA Food and Drug Administration in a 12-page report on the facility, which has helped produce of the vaccine in 1991. Emergent Biosolutions, which was the plant, has sought clearance from regulation to manufacture the vaccines from J.J. there. The company stopped production and the plant recently because of the FDA report. Consequently, to this, Johnson & Johnson announced that it was working to establish a global supply chain in which 10 production cities will be involved in making its COVID-19 vaccine in addition to its plant in Netherlands. To finish, to this problem and already being transferred to Biden administration, his help has been immediate. The president has provided necessary support to Johnson & Johnson so that it and its partners manufacture vaccines 24 hours a day, as well as having negotiation and agreement in which the pharmaceutical giant Merck competition from J.J. will help manufacture the new vaccines. Continue, Berito.
Okay, here are the reasons why Johnson & Johnson is so interested in working with the US. Johnson& Johnson signed a $480 million agreement with Emergent to make use of its existing facilities in Baltimore's Bayview, and the company BioDefense received more than $1.2 billion from the division overseen by Catholic. Another reason is that BARDA and the company have provided additional funding that will allow for the expansion of the ongoing work to identify potential antiviral treatments against the new coronavirus. Another entity is the Biomedical Advanced Research and Development Authority that has committed to $1 billion. The administration had also negotiated a deal in which pharmaceutical giant Merck would help make Johnson& and Johnson's new coronavirus vaccine. Johnson& and Johnson is providing additional experts in manufacturing, technical operations, and quality to be on site at Emergent to supervise, direct, and support all manufacturing of the Johnson& Johnson COVID vaccine. The relations between the US and the multinational has shown some problems. It has been quite tense. For example, the company has many allegations that their talcum powder caused ovarian cancer. And recently, the COVID vaccines were suspended in the US because some people stated to have side effects like thrombosis. A drug also named Esperbate to treat depression in war is is research by the Washington Congress. Okay, continue, Cami.
Thank you, Benito. We've asked ourselves why, despite all of these scandals and crises, these corporations have not had such a negative impact. Also, how come this weird relationship between the company and the US government? And the truth is, we're talking about a very big deal on the market with lots of power and real marketing and public relations genius. Currently, valued at hundreds of billions before of dollars, sorry. When ranked by revenue on the Fortune 500 list, they are number 35, just ahead of State Farm Insurance, Target, and IBM. And that ranking has not changed much over the past couple of decades. They've had a couple of declining years, but in general, increasing to the $82 billion that they are today. Actually, before 2008, for 76 consecutive years, their revenue was higher than the year before. It more impressive financial information is that they've increased their dividend for the past 57 years. They can afford to do it because they're pretty much always profitable, typically earning well over $10 billion every year. The image of the company is socially successful, and marketing has been crucial for this. Historically, they have a large number of famous products, some others not as famous as the other one, but still very huge on the market. They invented, for example, Band-Aids. Band-Aid it was introduced in 1921 as a way for people to treat their own cuts. It became one of the most well-known products of all time. Band-Aid is the Johnson Johnson's brand name, but even when we're buying a different brand, we still call it like that, Band-Aid. In 1989, they started a joint venture with another drug company that resulted in the creation of Pepsi and Mylanta. Then they bought the full ownership of that company. They also bought Clean and Clear, Neutrogena, Motrin in exchange for some other brands. They also bought the skincare business of SC Johnson. Also, the brand Aveeno. They introduced Splenda, the no-calorie sweetener that they sold in 2015. But that all of that was leading up to a much bigger acquisition in 2006. That when they paid almost $17 billion for the customer health of unit of Pfizer. That deal gave Johnson and Johnson control of the brands
Benadryl, Sudafed, Bengay, Neosporin, Vicin, and Listerine, among some others. Um, so we can say that that's an impressive assortment of products. They have over 100 different products like Lubriden, Rogaine, Micred. But here's the thing, that the entire list, along with 100 or so other brands, falls under their customer sales division, which in 2019 accounted for only 14 billion of their 82 billion in sales, meaning it only represents about 17 of their business. It is their smallest segment, and their largest segment is indeed pharmaceutical sales, representing over half of their revenue. They provide all of these drugs. The remaining segment is medical devices, representing almost a third of their revenue. This one consists of things like joint replacements, screws, plates, even contact lenses. These segments, rather than the consumer products, pay billions of dollars for a company that focus on treating diseases like cardiovascular diseases, orthopedics, drug deliveries, medical devices for 19.7 billion. More recently, they bought a pharmaceutical company for about 30 million. And to summarize, I guess our point of this whole presentation is that Johnson&Johnson is probably bigger and more significant than most of us may have realized, even though the US government have shown some actions on regulating it, especially now with the COVID vaccines. It seems that this huge corporation will manage to succeed on pretty much everything they want, as always. Um, I mean, they've survived several crises in the past, and now they have a green light in the vaccine distribution since on April 20, the company announced it would resume the distribution of its vaccine in the European Union, but with a safety warning after the EMA concluded that the vaccine's benefit continued to outweigh its risk. After halting vaccination in the United States a few weeks ago, the FDA and the CDC recently recommended trust source that vaccinations resume. They noted, however, that women under the age of 15 should be aware of the risk of red blood clots, and this distribution should include the mentioned warnings. And that's it. Thank you.